views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm your host, Veronica Guity, filling in for Darren Jaime. Today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up on today's show, thousands of women gathered to protest women's rights, civil rights, reproductive rights, and more. One of the speakers at the march and the author of Bad Hair Does Not Exist, a book that teaches girls to love and respect themselves for who they are, will be joining us. Then, after 2 days of a government shutdown, the federal government reopens with a 3-week extension. But what does it mean? What's next? Our political expert, Lee Bynes, will tell us more. Later, the Health Department, in partnership with social impact design studio Designing the We, presents the exhibit titled Undesign The Redline, an interactive exhibit about the history of redlining and its effects on health in New York City and the practice of denying home loans to people in certain neighborhoods. Plus, Casita Maria Center for Arts and Education presents Yes You Can, an exhibition honoring and celebrating women of color from yesterday and today who are leaders, mentors, and sheroes in service of the community. We'll tell you about this more later. After that, from winter coats to a hot meal, a young bronxite promotes events to gather goods for those in need. This is part of a new non-for-profit organization called Bronx View. Lastly, if you're interested in starting or advancing your career, we'll tell you about Lehman College's Pharmacy Program. All this and much more is headed your way because we are now officially open. Hello everyone, once again I'm Veronica Guity, filling in for Darren Jaime. Today is Wednesday, January 24th, and you are watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We want to encourage you to stay connected. Find us on Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. A lot has been going on over this busy week, and we'll catch you up with some Bronx updates. Over the weekend, Congress failed to pass a new government funding law before the old one expires, causing the government to shut down. A deal was struck by Democrats and Republicans on Monday to end a brief government shutdown containing $31 billion in tax cuts, including a temporary delay in implementing 3 health care-related taxes. They also joined together temporarily to fund the government through February 8th in exchange for a promise from Republican leaders to address the fate of young undocumented immigrants known as Dreamers. The bill also funds the popular children's health insurance program for 6 years and delays or suspends a handful of tax increases that were to help pay for insurance coverage under the Affordable Care Act. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced Monday that he and Senate GOP leaders have reached a deal to reopen the government, and the chamber is on track to pass a plan to keep the government funded for 3 weeks. Hundreds of thousands of protesters on Saturday poured through cities across the nation and indeed the world. Mayor Bill de Blasio cited 200,000 as New York City's official number in a tweet on Sunday morning. Around 673 marches, rallies, and actions took place under the umbrella of the weekend Women as part of the anniversary of the 2017 Women's March. The events in the United States were organized by Women's March under the title Power to the Polls, and the international events are being organized by the Women's March Global under the title Look Back, March Forward. On Monday, the U.S. Olympic team unveils opening ceremony uniforms. The U.S. Olympic team is heading to Pyeongchang, South Korea, in style with the coolest warming outfits at the opening ceremony. It will be on February 9th, and Polo Ralph Lauren is the official outfitter of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic teams for its 6 games. He introduced red, white, and blue down parkers with embedded wearable heating technology. They're going to need it. We have to take a quick break, but then we'll return and we'll talk to one of the speakers at the Women's March this past Saturday.
patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Thank you for staying with us. Last Saturday, thousands of women marched the street of New York in a peaceful protest about equality, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and much more. Our cameras were present during the march. Here's a clip.
I am here for the cause of diversity and not forgetting that women are more than half of the population on this planet Earth, and for a good future for my daughter, so laws can be passed that help everybody.
I'm here representing my Garifuna women and men and children to let them know that we have a voice here in this community.
This movement has just grown and grown and grown, but it's grown mostly because women have built this movement.
We're all here for different reasons, so, I think that it's great to see that we are able to involve and encompass them with all the other folks who are marching for equality. We're all marching for something different, but we're all marching for respect, and it all comes down to that. Whether we're demanding respect from anybody who's a human being. We don't want to be spoken to or dealt with the way that it seems that it's been okay to do to us.
Didn't it look incredible? And it was. One of the speakers at the march is our fellow bronxite and a friend of mine and an author. She is Sulma Arzu-Brown. Hi, Sulma.
Hey, Veronica. It's so great to be here.
It's great to see you. So how did it feel? I mean, you were interviewed. You didn't even expect to be interviewed by Whoopi.
I wasn't even supposed to get interviewed by Whoopi. I was the very last
We're saying
person.
Whoopi like we know her, right?
I know. She's not great.
All right. Hey, Whoopi.
But yeah, and I was the last person, but I have an amazing talent manager who made sure that I got the job, so kudos to Michelle Sampson. But it felt incredible. I felt that I had a huge responsibility to pretty much represent all that I am as a woman, a mother, a daughter, and my whole entire community. And for me, my community is the Bronx, and I take the Bronx everywhere I go. So when they put someone like us up there, we have to make sure we bring it.
So talk about the energy that was there. I mean, this is what the first anniversary from last year. So many women out there with so many dreams, aspirations, just wanting to get their voices heard. How did you feel being in the middle of all that?
It felt incredible to be part of these incredible women doing amazing things, and the stage was just so colorful, and I believe that it was very strategic and purposeful for the Women's March Alliance to do this. I really believe that the stage was even a lot more colorful than even the audience, so we have to make sure that next year we bring more women of color out, women of beautiful color out, and make sure that it's pretty much an equal balance. But it felt fantastic just being that voice and spreading this word of let's help one another, let's uplift one another. It doesn't end here, but it continues. And let's own everything that we are and embrace each other as women. So to be part of that message was incredible.
And to talk about continuing on the legacy, you have two daughters of your own, who you're able to teach about this message to.
Yeah.
Were they able to be there with you?
Oh, they were able to be there with me. They were on stage with me.
Oh, wonderful.
And my mom was on stage with me because who I am today did not get accomplished by myself. It really took the sacrifice of a woman who left her country to make sure she fulfills the American dream. So the whole world heard that day that I stand on my mother's shoulders. And the whole world saw how I'm able to pass this on to my daughters. So the goal was to also encourage them and let them know that they have the power to change the world for the better as well.
Definitely. And you're from Honduras, you're Garifuna.
Yes, I am.
And you came here when you were 6 years old.
Yes.
And it just speaks to the conversation that we're having now on immigration and why it's so important for all people from everywhere for them to come here and achieve their dream. And you're one of those people.
Yeah, I know, and I'm still working towards achieving the dream. And yes, a lot of doors have opened up for me because I'm able to identify as a Garifuna woman from Honduras, and I'm able to tell my story. But it goes beyond that. Even I was invited to speak as the author of Bad Hair Does Not Exist, Pelo Malo No Existe, because of the message behind the book, and that is appreciate the diversity of the world around us. It's not about black or white, it's about the human experience, which is shown all throughout the book. And yes, the characters are all women and girls, different ages and different shades of Nubian, because I also want to offset the media message of my own community. What's in the book, sharing, caring, you know, showing gratitude, showing people that are astronauts and doctors, women that are doctors and astronauts, was very intentional for me, because that is what I see my community to be, and that is the human experience that brings us all together. People in every type of culture has these types of princesses, has these types of beauties, but I just wanted to make sure I offset the media message and let everyone know that we have them in our community as well.
And I just love the cover. I mean, it's just showing women of different different shades, different textures of hair, with different career choices. You know, and you say, when I was reading, you said that it's not just for the young women, but it's also for us as well. I have a daughter. I definitely want to get this and read this to her and let her know that bad hair does not exist, because it's a stigma that we've had from way back.
Absolutely.
So I'm guessing that was part of the influence in this book.
Yeah, I wrote it for my own daughters to let them know that all hair is good and bad hair does not exist. And because they also speak Spanish, we wanted to make sure that a second language was included as well. So yeah, all hair is good, whether you have curly hair, straight hair, and afro. Like myself, you know, it's not poofy, it's an afro. It's not poofy, it has purpose, and it defies gravity. And it tells the story of who I am. It pays homage to my mom and dad and her ancestor and their ancestors, but it also shows how beautiful we are as a people and how much we have in common with your family. So the same way I've embraced...
Because my children are also, well, my husband always says they're not half Garifunas, they are Garifunas. My family's from Ghana, and his family is from Honduras, they're Garifunas. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. The message crosses lines.
Thank you. And when you see the book, you know, the only thing I ask is, don't think it's just a book for little black girls.
Right.
It's not. It's a book for little white girls too, for Asian girls too, because we need to be able to live together in harmony and let them know that our community is also full of love. So let's be friends.
So tell us how we can get in touch with you for those who do want to get this book in their hands and get it in their children's library.
Sure. Super easy. NoPeloMalo.com, which means no bad hair, literally. So I'm also available for speaking engagement, which I absolutely love. And
I know you do. You do them so well.
Thank you. But everything is NoPeloMalo.com. That's where you can find me. If all else fails, just Google it.
Sulma Arzu-Brown. No Bella Malo, bad hair does not exist. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
No, thank you, Chris.
Yes. We have to take a quick break, but afterwards we'll catch up on the latest in politics.
We are there, day one, with baby names and a gift that lasts a lifetime. We are there as you grow, protecting you and those you love. And we are there as you start your next chapter. We are with you through life's journey. We are Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. Get to know us at socialsecurity.gov.
This video produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, You're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
After 2 days of the government shutdown and 3 weeks with a temporary reopen, what's next? To update us about the latest in Washington, here's our politics expert, Lee Vines.
Good to be here.
Good to see you again, Lee.
Same here.
Yeah, so this government shutdown lasted, what, it was 2 or 3 days. I think it was, what, 3 days it lasted?
About 70 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't
precise.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people were fearful about it. We thought it was going to go longer, but they decided to come to a middle ground for 3 weeks. What exactly happened? For those who are not updated, why did they have this government shutdown?
Well, you know what, the Democrats, Chuck Schumer in leadership, specifically along with Dick Durbin from Illinois, were pushing the DACA issue. They wanted to make sure that this issue was going to be addressed in this particular session and not have to go through. That's the reason why they went to the mat and decided to shut the government down. The only problem with it, and the reason why it lasted such a short period of time, and now this is just my opinion, is simply because of the fact that the Democrats were fighting the right battle, but at the wrong time. In my humble opinion, I would suggest that the Democrats would have been a lot more successful if they had expanded their argument beyond just the DACA. There's 800,000, roughly 800,000 dreamers out there that are awaiting some sort of sense of closure or some sort of path to citizenship, and if not that, at least legalization. And these are the individuals who had come out of the shadows. They gave their names, they gave their addresses, they are vetted. These are people who stayed out of trouble, stayed in school, served the country in the military, etc. So to ignore all of those positives in order to address, how should I say this tactfully, but the ruby red wing of the Conservative Party, it was definitely a fight to take, but they would have been better if they had expanded it to the shutdown of the government to include the $700 billion that the Republicans are requesting for the Defense Department this year. They would have been better off if they had added the health care issue to the fight. Now, if you add these things to it along with the DACA, then you have 800,000, maybe 850,000 federal employees who are furloughed would say to themselves, well, you know what? I can understand why they're doing it. There's something in it for me. We are trying to make more funds available to the social side of the country. You're trying to make sure that the sick, the poor, and the young have access to funding as well, as opposed to sending all of this money to the military. Because if you understand, if you've been following Donald Trump and his message, it's like, we got to have a great military. We have to upgrade our weapon systems and things like that. So what's happening right now is that Donald Trump just yesterday tweeted out that if there's no wall, there's no DACA. So
and what do you think that message right there, how did that influence? I mean, do you think that that's not helping his message? I don't think that's helping the Democrats to see that he's trying to work along with them, which I don't think the Republicans are. You know, sending out a message like that, if there's no wall, there's no DACA, what does that say to the American people who are trying to fight for this?
Well, it says to the American people that the administration and the GOP has doubled down. They are speaking primarily to their base. One of the reasons why they are pretty much certain that any promises that they would make as far as in the Senate is concerned is that anything that passes the Senate still has to go through the House again to be approved as well. The House is full of a very, very large number of red meat representatives who have their constituents to answer to. These people are coming out of places like Iowa, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, Montana, et cetera. Those are what we would call flyover states. They do not see very many people from Ghana. They don't see many people from Honduras. They don't really give a whole lot of care about this issue. So as long as they speak directly to that 35% of the nation, they are pretty much, and they will stick together. These folks will stick together with what Donald Trump wants to do no matter what. And so they're pretty much in the comfort zone. On the other side of the table, the Democrats are fractured because during these negotiations, Representative Gutierrez from Illinois, as well as Donald Trump, when they went in to speak with Donald Trump, and when they went in to sit down with the negotiations and showed up on the Sunday talking programs, they were really willing to say, you know what, if we can keep the DACA folks here, we will give in and give the funding of $20 billion to the wall. That did not go over well with the progressives. The progressives wanted to hold the line on this. People like Ms. Harris in California, junior senator, yes. People like Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts, people like Bernie Sanders, obviously.
Of course they're not going to agree to this.
They weren't going to agree with that. And that in and of itself exposed the wide gap in the Democratic Party. So unless they can come to terms with themselves and approach this issue in a united way, I suspect that the shutdown could happen again.
So we're talking about the end of the 3 weeks. You don't see them coming to a compromise on this because both sides don't want to compromise. Like you're saying, they want the whole pie, right? Instead of coming down the middle. To pass, especially for DACA recipients, to pass the DREAM Act, they want to go a step further for these people.
Well, the Democrats, if I have their argument correctly, what they want to do is to make sure that there's somewhat of a pathway to citizenship for a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about the DACA recipients, the DACA folks, or the Dreamers. I'm talking about their parents, the people who literally brought them here. The president is stuck on this getting rid of the chain migration issue, and that in and of itself could cause a huge humanitarian crisis in the community of people who are living in the shadows right now. The reason being is that, okay, we say that the Dreamers can stay, but their parents still have to be on guard 24/7 to find out whether or not they're going to be picked up. So the Democrats literally have to stand their ground on this, otherwise they could themselves create a humanitarian crisis. And that's one of the reasons why I think that these negotiations should not necessarily be held behind closed doors, because when they come out, everybody said that they heard different things.
Right.
And the Democrats, specifically progressives and independents, they are a little more forceful than the establishment wing of the Democratic Party, which Chuck Schumer represents. And so they would like to know how much are they giving away in order to get these small things, because what they actually got out of this is a promise. There is no guarantees that anything that they come up with, bipartisan or otherwise, is going to be taken up in the House. And for them to accept the promise from, how should I say this tactfully and diplomatically, from a pathological liar. This is something that has been proven over and over again by a number of sources, including people close to him. So anything that they would get verbally and not in writing, not legislatively nailed down, you're really leaving yourself open to a lot of disappointment.
We have to wrap up, but what do you see happening when, or if or when the government does shut down again after February 8th?
I would say that there's a high probability that it will happen, simply because Chuck Schumer has been placed in a corner right now. He's got to stick with his constituents, and his constituents are really, really unhappy. So if he is forced to stick with his position, and we know Donald Trump will, there's no other way out other than another shutdown, and then it's going to start costing people some serious money. It's been said that a shutdown could cost this country $6 billion with a B every week that is not functioning. So you're going to have some serious pressure on both of these parties to get something done, but just as much pressure on the other side to make them stick with their guns. So I would predict that another shutdown is definitely in our future.
Well, let's see what happens. Thank you so much, Lee.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Open.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. throw me out off with some more.
Welcome, everybody. We are open. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. You can catch me on there each and every night right after the Quiet Storm. You can catch me right here on Open, 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Let's just call it on the 10s and then just keep it tuned. And we got you covered like a blanket, okay? I'm out in the community and we're all over the place because we are now open.
Welcome back. The New York City Department of Health, in partnership with Social Impact Design Studio, they're designing the We, is opening the exhibit Undesign The Redline, an interactive exhibit about redlining in New York City, focusing on the impact of this practice in the Bronx. To learn more about this, we welcome Fernando Tirado, Director of Initiatives at the Bronx Action Center. Thank you so much for joining us,
welcome.
Fernando.
Thank you for having me.
So, Tom, for those, I want to jump right in and talk about the topic, redlining. For those who may not understand the topic or what it's about, tell us a little bit about it.
So the name of the exhibit is called Undesign The Redline. Redlining was a practice funded by the government in the 1930s to create opportunities for people to get housing, but that actually led to a institutionalized structural racism that continues to play its part today.
And why did you decide that this was the right time to bring on this exhibit?
So I'm actually the facilitator for the borough's #Not62, the campaign for a healthy Bronx.
Yes.
The reason why it's called #Not62 is because the Bronx ranks last in health outcomes and health factors in the state, and has ranked last since the report came out by the RWJ Foundation. One of the things that has an impact on health are the social and economic determinants of health: housing, education, crime, how you perceive your neighborhood. And redlining is that structural racism that has had a direct link to health inequities here in the Bronx and among other neighborhoods and other cities.
And this was predominantly happening in the Bronx?
No, this was actually a nationwide policy where cities were disinvested by having people move out into the suburbs. They were some places were blockbusted. Just by the very fear that a black person or a person of color would move into your neighborhood, speculators would try to get you to sell your home for very cheap and then to move into the suburbs and sell you that house at a much more expensive rate, and then sell that same house that they bought to a person of color at an exorbitant rate with exorbitant loan practices. So,
and we could see the effects that it's had from then to where we are now. What do you think is being done to fix that, to try to fix that?
Well, I would say that not much has been done, right? Not into the 1970s did we have the Community Reinvestment Act come in to try to undo that. But those communities that had experienced redlining experienced a massive amount of trauma, emotional trauma. And that trauma goes back all the way until the early days of this country, where slavery was institutionalized, and so redlining was institutionalized. It was that covert or that subtle racism that has led to these health inequities, and that's what we're trying to point out with this exhibit. We want people to come and take a look at the exhibit to see the timeline from slavery and discrimination amongst Native Americans or First People nations, Hispanics, African Americans, from the 1800s until today. Likewise, there's a parallel timeline of the people who fought against that, of the people who tried to make a difference, from the abolitionists to Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And so we want to show that timeline and show how redlining has had an impact on health and in creating health inequities. I'd also like to point out that not everybody's going to perceive this this exhibit the same way. Some people are going to get very angry because it's a very sensitive topic. Some people are going to be inspired to do something, and that's what we want. We want the conversation. We want to see how we could undesign the red line by creating an ecosystem where we all have shared values and shared dreams, and that we can all live together. As how previous speaker was mentioning about how we need to create a better world for our children and for ourselves.
Definitely. We've seen how Not 62, how that initiative has impacted the Bronx. We have more parks now. There are more activities for children to get into so that, they're outside playing and, better foods are being introduced into the schools. But what exactly, and I guess this is the conversation you're saying that is being started, but has anything been created to help the communities who were affected by this? By the redlining? So,
as I mentioned, this is happening at the Bronx Neighborhood Health Action Center, and so the Action Center, located at 1826 Arthur Avenue, is a community hub. It's not just about promoting good health behavior, but about storytelling, telling the story of how health inequities have been institutionalized into our communities, so that we can find a way together to address that. So, for instance, part of the Not 62 campaign focuses on mental health and mental health first aid training, how to deal with the opioid overdose crisis. Talks about workforce development and talks about entrepreneurship among minority women business enterprises. So we do a lot of health and a lot of health promotion at the Action Center, but we talk about those social and economic determinants of health, which are really the leading cause of the poor health outcomes that we have in the Bronx. And that is, again, all tied into the structural racism that has existed in this country and in the city for a very long time.
For those who are watching, and I'm sure many people are interested in this, because I would definitely want to change what has happened with the redlining. If I was in that community, and I am in that community, my family's in the community, I would want to say, what can I do? But for someone sitting at home who's wondering, me as an individual, what exactly can I do to change things? Well, if they're thinking I'm just one person.
So what redlining actually did was, as I mentioned earlier, it created this mass trauma among communities. And in order to undo that, we have to look at how do we heal communities, right? How do we build a sense of social cohesion? How do we become neighbors again? How do we look out for one another and look out for our common interests and get beyond fictitious designations such as race and color and ethnicity? At the end, we're all human, and we all have to fight for our humanity. And what we want to do is tell that story through this Undesign the Redline.
Excellent. And tell us when this will be happening. It's taking place at the end of January, correct?
It starts January 30th. We have a reception at 5 p.m. at the Neighborhood Health Action Center. And it'll take place every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. But we do have 2 Saturday events. One is February 17th, and the last one, or the last day of the exhibit, is Saturday, March 10th.
Excellent. Please note, for those of you watching at home, that it is January 30th. It's not January 20th. Just a typo there, but it will be starting on January 30th from 5 to 7 p.m., correct? And where is it going to be taking place?
At the Bronx Neighborhood Health Action Center, 1826 Arthur Avenue, just south of East Tremont Avenue.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Fernando. Definitely a conversation that needs to be had. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We have to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more Open.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment. A moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, kooky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count, because every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Welcome back. Casita Maria presents an exhibit that honors the life, legacy, and contribution to the community of distinguished women of color. To tell us more about this, we welcome Gail Heidel and Elba Cabrera. How are you, ladies?
Hi.
Good to see you here
Good
today.
to see you again.
Yes, of course. Elba, you were actually at the Women's March this past weekend.
Yes, I was.
And you were telling me you took your granddaughter, who's 10 months?
Well, she's 10 months old.
So you're starting from young.
And yeah, she has to follow the family tradition.
Absolutely.
It was really wonderful. And then everybody, oh, isn't she cute? Yeah, it was very inspiring.
Yes, and I mean, I could tell like this show is going to be very inspiring. Tell us about the exhibit that's going to be starting up.
You can start it.
Okay, sure. So this actually came out of a conversation that Elba and I had during a gallery talk. We were honoring Elba and her two other sisters last summer in an exhibition called Las Tres Hermanas at the Casita Maria Gallery. And Elba just off the cuff mentioned how she would love to work with Casita again on another exhibition to honor women of color and to have it be something that we could teach the young people that attend programs at Casita Maria about the legacy of all these women that maybe hadn't gotten, a lot of recognition before.
It's such a great time to be having this conversation. With everything that's been going on, with Oprah's speech that you just made at the awards, with the march that's happening, with the Me Too campaign. It's just, I just feel like it's a year of women's voices truly being heard.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the title came from Dolores Huerta. I had heard an interview with her on Latino USA that Maria Hinojosa was conducting. And there was a movie that came out called Dolores to give her, her due as well, because she hadn't always been thought of as an equal in the farm workers union movement. And her call to action was Si se puede. So that's where the title of the exhibition came from.
And Si se puede
is
yes, we can.
Yes, you can. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm quite excited because
I would think so.
I wanted to show our youth that so many of our women have come from the Bronx. And even if they didn't come from the Bronx, they worked in the Bronx. And we have such a long list of wonderful, wonderful, experienced women. Some are not living because they've passed on, transitioned on, but there are others that are younger and are carrying the baton.
Yes.
So it's going to be a great, great exhibit because our youth need this.
Definitely.
They need to know that, yes, I can, si se puede. And we're just quite excited. It's going to be on tonight. Today's the opening. And it's going to be on through March
29th.
Okay.
And there's going to be another a panel.
Right, on the 20th.
And who's going to be on the panel?
We're still working on that, but we'll be screening Palante Siempre Palante about the Young Lords, and then we'll be having a discussion afterwards about the Young Lords movement and then how that impacted, work in New York City afterwards, and then, what's the next step for our young leaders that are coming through.
And what do you tell these young women? Because even though we've come a long way, we still have many battles that we're fighting. Even when it comes to our careers, to how much we're getting paid, the amount of money that we're getting paid in counter to men who are in the same positions. How do we continue on? How do we give our young women hope and saying, you know what, we're going to continue on with this conversation, but we are going to be successful at it.
This is the beginning.
Yes, we are going to be successful at it, at achieving our goals.
Yes, absolutely. This is the beginning because they're going to see photographs, but they're going to see bios of where these women came from, and that to me is going to
Esperanza.
is going to be Yeah, that to me is going to be very important. And what I feel in my heart is that we have to have hope.
Yes.
Because without hope, there's nothing. And I believe that this exhibit is going to open up a lot of, how can you put it? It's going to help people open up their thinking, especially the youth. And this is who it's for, because the older people, you know, they've been here, but the young people are going to, they're the ones that we're going to depend on to carry our legacy.
And why did you feel that Casita Maria was the perfect place to have the exhibition and to have the panel discussions?
Well, Casita Maria serves over 1,000 young people a day, about 400 at our location at 928 Simpson, and the rest of those young people are in 3 different schools in Harlem. And so we have a gallery. We have 4 exhibitions per year, and we're always wanting to use it as a teaching tool. And this, I thought, you know, was a continuation of the Las Tres Hermanas exhibition. Our last exhibition was Arte de la Barranqueña, which was focusing on the superheroine that Edgardo Miranda Rodriguez created. So this just seemed like a natural step afterwards. And you know, we just decided in August on this idea and pulled it all together. So we want to say thank you
in a short couple of months.
Right. We want to say thank you to all the women that are involved in this exhibition.
And who are some of those women who are involved?
Well, we have the postcard here. I'll just go through. So we have Esperanza Martel, Melinda Gonzalez, Sofia Quintera, Maria Ponte, Tanya Fields, some women who have passed on that we're honoring, Dr. Antonia Pantoja, Helen Rodriguez Trias, Alice Cardona, and Yolanda Sanchez, Lillian Jimenez. She's been a tremendous help with this exhibition. We're actually screening 5 films as part of the exhibition in companionship with the photographs of the women that we're honoring.
I see Rosalba is also
Rosalba Verlon, Anita Antonetti.
And a lot of these women have great influences right here in our borough.
Oh yeah,
right here in the Bronx.
That's why I said that they may not have been born in the Bronx, but they've been working in the Bronx, many of them. And then some have been born here.
If there are any youth who are wondering, is this for me? Tell them why it is definitely for them to attend.
Well, we asked each honoree to select a coming of age image. So that could mean anything to, you know, the specific person. So some people selected photos of themselves when they were children. Other people, like Rose Rodriguez, who is also a Casita kid and went through the program, her coming of age image was when she was 32, when she first got her first government job. Wow. The photo is her in the World Trade Center towers, like at her desk. And so it's this idea that the work that you're doing can happen at any time in your life. And then we also ask them to select an image of their mentor. And some people selected actually their whole family. And other people, you know, selected one woman who was really influential. So we want the young people to see, you know, this moment can happen at any time in your life. You know, you don't have to, you know, get that seed planted when you're 6. You know, it could happen later. Yeah. And then also this legacy that happens, you know, that you're learning from other people, you know, that we're part of an ecosystem. We don't have to do it alone, and that there's so many great achievements that these women, you know, have, you know, achieved.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So it's going to be taking place January 24th to March 29th?
Exactly. Yeah, so tonight, everybody's welcome. Bring your family and friends. We're going to have a party, DJ, refreshments, fun.
Great.
Elba will be there.
You ladies will be on the dance floor?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Veronica.
Great to
having
see
us.
you again. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. We'll be right back after this break.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. All of the ones get but if you throw me around, I'll throw you some more.
From clothing to a hot meal, a young bronxite organizes events to help those in need. Here to tell us more is Anthony Welch. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you're actually a Lehman College student.
Yes.
So, I mean, how did you get inspired to do this at such a young age?
It's just, I don't know, for some reason I just woke up. I feel like lately people in my generation are more reactive than proactive. So I started this initiative with the goal just to simply help people. There's a lot of organizations that are very established. I noticed that they lose their main goal, and that's to help. And that's basically what I want to do.
And so tell us the name of the initiative.
So it's called Bronx View, and our goal is to provide free events for people in the Bronx community, to gather them and basically do something different. For example, when is the last time you've been to a free event and actually had a good time? You could probably count on your fingers, right?
A free event?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So what we want to do is to mix the dynamic and provide free events and also bring local Bronx business owners with local Bronx natives.
Okay.
So there's a gap between business owners and the community that they serve. So we just want to bring them together. Yeah.
Okay, and so what was the journey like, you know, planning this and getting it together? I'm sure you had many closed doors, but why did you decide to keep on going? Especially being a full-time student.
Definitely, that's a great question. I have a 9-to-5. I am a student here in Lehman College. So the outreach for this was to stay in the Bronx generally, but I got so much feedback from people outside the Bronx, it just opened my eyes, so just a new door. For example, somebody from Brooklyn, somebody from New Jersey. I couldn't reach New Jersey, but a lot of people reached out to me, and it just kept me motivated to keep going, yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So what do you see for the future of the initiative, for the program going forward?
Okay, great question. So last month we clothed more than 30 homeless families, so we're proud of that. In February, our goal is to work with Operation Prom. Operation Prom, what they do is they provide free prom outfits for people who can't provide it for themselves. So what I want to do is for February collect those tuxedos, those dresses that you have no use for. Everybody has a fun memory that they should go donate.
Yeah.
So I want to take that fun memory and just translate it into something else. Yeah.
And how can the youth benefit from this? Because there are probably some of them who need your help, who need your resources, but they may not know of the initiative yet. How can they find out more about it?
Okay, so we're on Instagram, Bronx View. We're on Facebook, Bronx View as well. And we're currently still in operation. We're a local Bronx organization, non-for-profit. And we're looking to expand. We want more volunteers, we want more sponsors. And April 21st, we're doing something very big. It's a free pizza event. You're invited.
Thank you.
Friends, family, kids. And what we're doing is we're working with a local Bronx business owner, Louise Pizzeria, 1804 Narita Ave.
Okay.
And we're going to provide as much pizza to the Bronx community as possible. And the goal is simple. Come out, enjoy yourself, enjoy music, free pizza, soda, free lunch on the Bronx View.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be good. We're definitely going to be keeping an eye on you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you, Veronica.
Great job.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
Thank you for staying with us. For those interested in going back to school or advancing, Lehman College offers many options in different fields. To talk about the pharmacy certificate program, we welcome Thomas Frisco, pharmacy program coordinator right here at Lehman College. How are you, Thomas?
Same here.
So tell me about this program. There are many, I think, adults who are looking to start over and to get into a new career.
And it's a great opportunity for somebody to do that. We offer the program at night and on weekends. It's offered from 6 o'clock in the evening until about 9:40. And it gives somebody an opportunity to stay in their job and look for another career path down the road. And healthcare has always been a great path or a great career because no matter what the economic times are, they always have a job.
That's true.
So what we're trying to do here at the college is to show people that bridge or that pathway that they can get there. So, and then maybe get people out of a certain situation, show them that they can get gainfully employed, that they can have a paraprofessional, help the pharmacist. And I've had students that have gone through the program that now are in the College of Pharmacy, which is a really great thing that we look at. So we can take people and expand on that, which is good.
So this program has been going on since 2013.
Yes.
Talk about some of the success stories that you've seen so far.
Well, what happens is we've had the program its inception in 2013 with the academics here at the campus and my predecessor, Vanessa Walker. What they did was they built up at CUNY on the Concourse a pharmacy lab, state-of-the-art pharmacy lab. We have everything from IV compounding to sterile compounding inside of the room. We can do extemporaneous compounding, which makes creams and ointments for somebody. We put capsules together. So we have everything up there that we offer to the students. And we're basically able to teach somebody with no knowledge of pharmacy and how to get into a great career.
What are some of the misconceptions that people come into when they enter this program? Because they're coming in brand new.
Yeah, I can't do the math. Math is the hardest thing for them. And I tell them, if you can look at a fraction and understand that a fraction is a decimal, I can show you how to work with it. And then, because all drugs come in milligrams or grams. And what we're able to do is we're taking those medications and we're giving them in doses unique for you. And this is where compounding pharmacy comes into play, or general pharmacy. In the mid-1950s, manufacturing started at the manufacturers. But prior to that, you went to the mom and pop pharmacy, and that's where you got your drugs. Yeah. When you dropped off the prescription there, the pharmacist delivered to the house, or you came back a little bit later. But because of the masses, the manufacturers have come into play and kind of put things by its wayside. So compounding pharmacy is something that's up and running, and we have a contract with a local Bronx community compounding pharmacy that we send our externs to. Our students that have graduated the program, we send them there, and they've gotten gainfully employed, which is great. So that's something like that.
Why do you think this program is doing so well? What makes it unique?
Because we care. We care about the program itself. We care about the community. We want to see the community get better. I came from a different background. When I was a younger person, I didn't have a lot of things. So when I made it successful, I always made a choice to give back. So the passion that I have given into this program and the passion that my instructors have in this program really come out every day that we're in class. And we want to make sure that the person that comes through the door, because they're hard-earned money, they can take a loan out, they can get financial aid for this, but at the end of the day, they have to make a decision, and we want to make sure that they made the right decision. And they've gone out and have done their homework. And at the end of the day, if you're willing to give me your time, I'm willing to show you how you can get a good job. And that's what we look for.
And do you see that it's a lot of adults that have been joining the program, or is it a lot of students coming in straight from high school?
I have both. Actually, I have a program right now that I'm running, which is high school students. And it's really great for them because they don't know where they're going yet in life. And as a pharmacy technician, I can show you how to get a job or a paraprofessional and be able to work towards that college degree. And I also have people who have been downsized, unfortunately. And with this economy the way it is and the way it's going, who knows what's going on. So again, healthcare is a great field to go in. So I have both. So my class that I'm running right now, I have a gentleman that is in his 60s in the class, and I have somebody who's in their 20s in the class. And it's a very diverse class, which is really good because the Bronx community is very diverse.
And it just shows, like, right here, I'm looking at my facts, and it's saying that more than half of all jobs were in pharmacies and in the drugstores.
Yes. Major chain drugstores and independent pharmacies are where most people go to fill their prescriptions, about 2/3 of them. And when you look at that, that's an opportunity for somebody to work. So retail pharmacy is one place, hospital pharmacy is another place, mail order pharmacy is another one, the insurance company is another one. So we have a very diverse field that a lot of people don't really know about. They just know that, hey, they go to their local pharmacy or their chain drugstore pharmacy and they get their prescription there. But there's a lot of other areas of pharmacy that somebody can work in on the back door or the back end of it, and they're able to still, provide it for their family. And that's what we look for.
I think that's excellent. And the program is offered every semester?
It's offered every semester. Our program now is going to start at the end of the month, January 30th, and run until June. And the great thing about the program, it's affordable. It's $1,499. So $1,499.
Not bad at all.
No, it's not. It's a couple nights during the week. It goes from 6 until 9:40. We offer class on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings or all day Saturday.
Okay.
So depending on what somebody's life is like, we can get them in either way. And again, trying to make a difference in somebody's life.
And how long is the program?
It's going to be 6 months. Now, within that time frame, I go through the course, give them the didactic knowledge, and making sure that they have that education. After that, I send them out on an externship. So they get on-the-job training. And that on-the-job training can lead to employment down the road.
So the difference between internship and externship?
Internship, you're paid for. Externship, you're not paid for it, so it's gratis.
Okay.
So it's a volunteer office, basically.
But
we're
which
working
could
with.
lead to employment.
Which can lead to employment, which is great because now you got your foot through the door.
Yes.
And being in pharmacy for over 28 years, I know a lot of people.
All right, Thomas. Well, I hope that people at home take advantage of this. It sounds like a wonderful program.
I hope so also.
Thank you
you
so
very
much, Thomas.
Appreciate
Great.
it.
We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios 33, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. I'm Veronica Guity, and remember to let your light shine.